Welcome back to the Apartment Geek. I'm your host, Chris Robinson, where we talk about apartments, business, life, adventure, all kinds of fun stuff, and making money and cash flow. And lately, or this last weekend, I had an amazing birthday party at my home in Solana Beach. And there was continued discussion, believe it or not, at a birthday party about real estate, even though I was really trying to talk about other things. But we talked a little bit in the beginning of this event I had about similar to last video about what happens when we have to refinance all these properties that we own. And these are properties that we bought in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe 6 or 7 years, going back to 2016, 17, or whatever, and put loans on them that are going to adjust in the next 2 to 4 years. And a lot of us kind of look at the schedule of real estates that we have, and we see these loans that are, a lot of them are interest only, and a lot of them are at very low interest rates. So the mid twos, believe it or not, which is wild. That was like beginning of 2020, middle of 2020, to call it the low to mid fours. I mean, those are very attractive loans. At some point, those are going to become due. And we're talking about stress testing these properties so that you don't get caught holding the bag or caught with your pants down or whatever it may be. We're in this environment we talked about last week. The NOI is under attack with the rent control and the higher expenses. So when it comes down time to get a new loan on the property, the appraiser and the lender is going to look at your NOI. And if you can't improve that enough, and we're in an environment where rates stay at 6.5%, 7%, who knows? I don't think they're going to come down for a long time. That's my opinion. What does that look like on the loan dollars that you need in order to replace the loan on the refi? And then what does it look like to your loan payment? Or I should say, how does it impact your cash flow? That's the biggest concern that we have, because we build lifestyles that fund where we are and where we kind of are going, so to speak, with our lifestyles. And what happens in 2, 3, 4, 5 years when the cash flows go way down? How do you fund this stuff? So this is this big discussion between a lot of the real estate community. It's very simple. You take what your loan amount is. If there's principal reduction, you can kind of calculate that out and look at when you have to refinance, or when your loan's going to go adjustable, and then plug in a rate that's probably higher than what you think it's going to be. I would plug in 6.5 to 7%, and just to kind of be safe and see, you can map out what you need to do on your rent roll as far as rent increases in the next, whenever it is for your case, 2 to 4, 5 years. You can literally map out a game plan in order to get up to a rent level that is necessary to kind of continue similar cash flow or the same cash flow, hopefully even better. A lot of owners are finding that they're going to have to get pretty creative because of rent control. We can only go up a certain amount on the rent increases per year. We all know that. But how else can we do it? Can we build ADUs where we're increasing NOI that way? Can we cut costs? Can we put a RUBS program in where we can recap some utility expenses? Can we start charging for parking spaces, storage, lockers, pet rent? There's all kinds of creative things that owners are starting to do because they're trying to really get their rent roll up and the NOI to kind of stay healthy, so that this is not a big problem when they go refi. Otherwise, if they don't do these things and they're kind of lackadaisical, they're going to have a much higher loan payment in whenever it is, or they're going to have to come to the table with cash and do we call them cash calls in the business, where you have to come to fund the loan to get a new loan, which I don't think anybody wants to do. I know that wouldn't be a fun experience to go through personally. So it's really interesting. We're in 2023 and we haven't had to do this. I got in the business in 2002, so 21 years. We haven't had to really do this because we haven't had this pressure on value deterioration and this pressure on NOI. And in a rising interest rate environment, which is what we've seen. So if you need help with this stuff, reach out. I can kind of share with you how I've done it and what some of these bigger clients have, how they've kind of looked at their portfolios to figure out how they're going to stay safe and maintain, frankly, the lifestyles that they've built, which is a beautiful thing. So stress testing your properties for the new refinance. This is very, very important. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week.